Hello, this is Horizon X5, creator of Real Movies and X5 Cinema. This is episode 2 of the Real Movie series of For Honor. And with this episode, it was really kind of the beginning of how I figured I was going to structure this series. At the beginning of each episode, I was like, hey, you know, if you ever watch a television show, there's usually kind of an introduction to the show along with the title reveal. So I kind of felt that this would be fitting since we're going to be kind of meeting the first Conqueror, Stone, or at least the first one that you ever end up meeting in the campaign. I just thought these cinematics were usually really cool, including them. They were actually in the game. You can't record them a second time, so I had to go back and get them off of YouTube. But the way I structure a lot of these stories is I play the mission a number of times. This is really where I kind of begin to decide how is the best way to approach recording these. And with this one, what I ended up doing was I played through the whole mission without any music, sound effects, or anything like that. And the reason I did that was so I could get clean dialogue. I never ever play the missions with music, ever. So all the music that you hear is always reintroduced, whether it was in the game originally or not. It was put back in post. And the reason I obviously do that is because syncing audio and music when you have splices is next to impossible. Thankfully, Ubisoft Montreal, the developer, put in the feature to turn those things off, so it gave me a lot more creative freedom when it came to music, sound effects, and so forth. But approaching this episode, my goal was basically I play the mission. A lot of times I'll call that basically pre-production, or whatever you want to call it. And what I'm doing is I'm playing the mission a number of times over and over and over again, trying to see exactly how I end up wanting to go through it. And I felt that it was really important here, and then you see the breaking off here as we look at the Lawbringer, was to make sure that it wasn't just the Warden fighting. If you actually play the mission, those characters do help you. I just felt it was more important that you actually were able to see them and see that it wasn't just the Warden pushing them back. Not like he just shows up and they magically win. It was more of his leadership is what ends up inspiring them and pushing them forward. Also, the great thing about just going through and just getting the dialogue is I go to all the observables and I see which ones are most fitting, that are more fitting to the story. Because a lot of actually, like if you hear at the very end of this, at the end of this episode, you hear Apollyon start talking, and it's actually talking about what happens in the events following this battle. And I thought it was really fitting to throw it at the end, rather than just being an observable that you found in the environment. So at the end of the episode, when you actually hear her talking, that was taken from an observable and then placed there. This is the first time we actually see the introduction of the Viking music. I just took that straight from the soundtrack. A lot of these fights, I have to be really careful not to be, because I've gotten pretty good at the game. Not great, but I have to be careful not to completely destroy the AI, because I easily could. They're probably level 1s, slight level 2s. They're kind of in between that. They do guard breaks and stuff like that. So the objective is just always to make sure that the fight looks cool and it's fun, and not destroy the opponent. So this is one of the shorter episodes of my series. Also, you'll hear that dialogue here when he's stepping on his fingers. That's actual combat dialogue that I put there because I felt it was more fitting, so that we see Stone and we can put two and two together.
One of the best I'd ever seen.
So that's pretty much it for this episode. There wasn't a whole lot that went into it. Music definitely helps save a lot of the scenes in the combat. And this has been Horizon. Until next time. Thanks, guys.
Not bad at all. Pretty sure I could have done it by myself, but...
The Sanctuary of Harrogate. The last remnants of the Iron Legion had held it until the year that Warden came. After the battle, they were too weak to hold it. We Blackstones had to take over. Pity.
I would die for this kingdom, sweat blood for this kingdom. I would die for this kingdom. You won't take me down. I would die for this kingdom, sweat blood for this kingdom. I would die for this kingdom. You won't take me down. Light up and burn brighter. I was born with a fire, and I'll be the flame rising higher and higher. Yeah. You won't take me down. I'll fight for this crown.